It's amazing. Zurich looks just so much quieter these days. There just aren't as many people as there were before walking around the streets, which is pretty interesting. I mean, I don't know if that is a trend or if it's something that is related to the coronavirus. I suspect it is. I think there's a lot of people now who are working from home, and I think the virus is it's got a lot of people scared.
Rain turns to rust, fire burns to dust.
If you're visiting Zurich and you buy yourself an iPhone 11, don't forget it comes with an ultra-wide-winkel. You know what, I think I'm going to take a pass on that. I don't need an ultra-wide-winkel. No, I'm quite happy with my ultra-wide lens that I use to vlog with. Yeah, sorry Apple. Oh my gosh, what is there to do? I mean, the place is so empty. You know, it's just not the usual, typical Zurich that I'm used to.
Free, let your love run free. I'll follow you, you follow me.
Look at that, nobody's here. Nobody's riding the tram.
Let's raise the sun and make this place a home.
So on Tuesday, we saw something really unusual. The Federal Reserve unexpectedly cut interest rates by 0.5%.
Federal Reserve cutting interest rates by 50 basis points, making a surprise announcement of a 50 basis point rate cut.
But what was even more unexpected was the way that markets reacted.
That this was not the best idea, and it certainly didn't get the intended response.
A volatile session on Wall Street today. The markets were down, then they were up, then they were down again. So let's take a look. We're just heading into the close. It's settling there about 793 points lower on the Dow today.
Now, why is this interesting? Well, because effectively what markets are saying is that we don't want an interest rate cut. What we want is a vaccine for the coronavirus, or at least for the coronavirus to be contained. The problem with the coronavirus is that the damage that's being done is not happening on the demand side, it's happening on the supply side. It's impacting supply chains.
It's really supply chain disruption.
Apple has been severely disrupted in China.
So early on in the outbreak, Apple actually announced that the coronavirus would most likely damage its supply chains. These disruptions are not just going to be felt by Apple, they're going to be felt by millions of companies around the world, because China is the workshop of the world. It's not just the world's second largest economy, it's the world's biggest manufacturer. And so that is really where the issue with the coronavirus lies. It's a supply chain problem. So honestly, I don't know if all the central banks in the world pumped all the stimulus they could into the economy, whether this would have a difference, because this is not a demand problem, this is a supply chain problem. So this is what I've been trying to do. I've been looking at things that are a little bit different. They're slightly different. They're not the typical economic indicators that you would look at to try and ascertain the amount of economic damage being done by the coronavirus. And one thing that I thought was really, really intriguing was the level of pollution over China. Now, NASA and the European Space Agency released some really, really interesting analysis using satellite imagery of China. They took two snapshots. One was on the 1st of January and the other one was on the 25th of February 2020. And what they showed is that there has been a dramatic decline in the amount of pollution over China between this period because of the coronavirus. Now, why is this significant? It's significant because it shows that China has had to endure a significant amount of economic pain in order to reduce this amount of pollution over its cities. I mean, this is very, very interesting because it just shows that emission standards and emission targets are just not effective enough. We have to do much more than set emission targets. We have to come up with solutions that allow us to effectively reduce and meet those emissions targets without incurring substantial economic pain. The reality is our global economy still runs on fossil fuels. Our global economy still runs on oil, and it will do for the foreseeable future because we haven't been investing enough in not just renewable sources of energy, but also the infrastructure to store renewable energy and make it abundant and plentiful. We need to learn from the coronavirus. We need to learn the lessons. Unusually, the coronavirus has taught us something about climate change that we would never have known about. And this is what I find is so fascinating.